Have you ever wondered why the Israel-Hamas conflict has been going on for so long and what the recent developments are? The history of this conflict is a complex one, rooted in decades of political, religious, and territorial disputes. It's a story filled with tension, violence, and an ever-changing landscape of power. In recent times, we've seen a significant escalation in this ongoing conflict, with both sides making bold moves that have drawn international attention. Just a few months ago, a video was released by Hamas, showing an Israeli captive held in Gaza, the first such footage in 7 years. This move is widely perceived as an attempt to pressure Israel for a prisoner swap. On the other side of the globe, former President Donald Trump made a controversial statement, vowing to strip student visas from those he termed anti-Semitic foreigners at U.S. colleges if he wins the 2024 election. These are just a few of the events that have stirred the pot, adding layers of complexity to an already intricate situation. In this video, we will explore the timeline of recent events in the Israel-Hamas conflict and delve into the causes and implications. To understand the current situation, we need to look at the recent events that have shaped the conflict. Firstly, the spotlight was thrown on Hamas when they released a video of an Israeli captive in Gaza. This was the first glimpse of the captive since his abduction 7 years ago. The video showing the man in deteriorating health was seen as a strategic move by Hamas, likely aimed at pressuring Israel into a prisoner exchange. This action drew a sharp condemnation from Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who accused Hamas of violating international conventions. It's worth noting that Israel maintains that Hamas is holding 2 more Israeli civilians and the remains of 2 soldiers from the war that took place in 2014. Meanwhile, in the United States, former President Donald Trump made a bold statement. He vowed to strip student visas from foreigners expressing anti-Semitic views or supporting Palestinians if he secures victory in the 2024 elections. This stance was echoed by GOP Senator Marco Rubio, who also advocated for the cancellation of visas for foreigners expressing support for Hamas. The potential implications of this could be far-reaching, especially for students on U.S. campuses who have been scrutinized for their responses to the war. On the other side of the political aisle, President Joe Biden's administration has not yet commented on plans regarding Palestinian refugees. However, they are pushing for Egypt to reopen its borders, allowing civilians to leave the war zone. There's also a call for Congress to pass an emergency funding package to provide aid to Israel. However, this is met with resistance from some Republican lawmakers who argue that such aid would indirectly resupply Hamas. Simultaneously, a group of House Democrats has introduced a resolution calling for a ceasefire and aid to Palestinians in Gaza. These events have added a new dimension to the already complex Israel-Hamas conflict. Now that we have a clear picture of the recent events, let's dig deeper into the reasons behind these developments. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas is driven by a combination of historical disputes, political motivations, and international politics. On one side we have Israel, a nation recognized by many but not all in the international community. On the other side, we have Hamas, a Palestinian militant group that controls the Gaza Strip, a narrow piece of land wedged between Israel and the Mediterranean Sea. The political motivations involved are multifaceted. Israel, for instance, is committed to ensuring the safety of its citizens and upholding its sovereignty. Hamas, on the other hand, seeks to champion the cause of the Palestinian people, fighting for their rights and their own statehood. It's a tug-of-war of legitimacy, with each party trying to assert their rights and protect their interests. International politics also play a pivotal role in this conflict. The United States, for instance, has traditionally been an ally of Israel, providing significant military aid and diplomatic support. Other nations, however, have been more sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, condemning Israel's actions and calling for an end to the violence. Meanwhile, on the ground, the situation is equally complex. The citizens of Israel live under the constant threat of rocket fire from Gaza, while the people of Gaza endure blockades, airstrikes, and a dire humanitarian crisis. As for the role of international conventions, they're often caught in the crossfire. Israel accuses Hamas of violating these conventions by using civilian areas for military purposes and holding captives under inhumane conditions. Conversely, many in the international community accuse Israel of violating these same conventions through its use of force and its treatment of the Palestinian people. Yet, amid these accusations and counter-accusations, it's the ordinary people, on both sides of the border, who bear the brunt of the conflict. Their lives are disrupted, their homes are destroyed, and their futures are uncertain. As we can see, the reasons behind these developments are as complex as the conflict itself. In light of all the information we've discussed, what can we conclude? The Israel-Hamas conflict is a tapestry of historical complexities, political maneuvers, and human stories. The recent events have unfolded as a new chapter in this enduring saga. We've seen the release of a captive Israeli citizen held by Hamas for 7 years, an act seemingly aimed at pushing for a prisoner swap. We've also witnessed political posturing, with former President Donald Trump and GOP Senator Marco Rubio vowing to take stringent measures against individuals expressing support for Palestinians, if they win the next election. These developments, while significant, are but ripples in a larger pond of geopolitical tensions. They underscore the ongoing struggle for power and control in the region, the human cost of conflict, and the international implications that ripple far beyond the borders of Israel and Gaza. While we can't predict the future, we can remain informed, and in doing so, we can hope to better understand this complex situation. Remember, every development, every decision, every action has a context and a consequence. While the Israel-Hamas conflict is a complicated and ongoing issue, staying informed about recent developments can help us better understand the situation and its potential outcomes.